What a disastrous week for the NFC East. If you're an Eagles fan, if you're a Cowboys fan, you have to be just embarrassed. You should be ashamed of yourself. I mean, the Cowboys, I don't think I've seen a team choke as badly as they did. And of course, the Eagles, I don't think I've seen a team just collapse over the course of a season like they did, starting 10-1 and then not even getting to 12 wins. I mean, that is just ridiculous.
It's just unprecedented, man. You never see that kind of performance out of a team, especially when they didn't have any significant injuries. Like
That's
maybe
what I'm saying,
maybe if Jalen Hurts got injured
Right,
and then was
I
done
know.
for the season, you
Right.
could see that happening. But when they have no difference on their team, how does that happen?
It's abysmal, and so rightfully so, Nick Sirianni may be fired. I mean, there is so much going on. Mike McCarthy of the Cowboys may be fired. I think they both should go. I mean, there have been questions about Mike McCarthy for years now. I mean, he's never been able to do it in the postseason. As for Nick Sirianni, I mean, we saw last year he had these two great coordinators. Shane Steichen for the offense went to be the head coach of Indianapolis. We saw Jonathan Gannon, the defensive coordinator, go be the head coach of Arizona. And I think they've both been successful there. I mean, obviously the Colts were the Cardinals rebuilding. I think they did do some good things. I mean, they beat the Eagles. And so, I mean, the question is, what does Nick Sirianni really do? I mean, it seems like he's really been exposed, and he's just not a good attitude type of person. I mean, he's done some, wacky things. He's said some weird things, like saying stuff to fans of the other team, like telling them to F off or whatever.
Was this just yesterday, or was
No,
this
is like
all
through the
season?
course of the season.
Okay.
Like, he would, go up to, fans, while he's at the game, at a road game, and say some shit to the opposing crowd. It's weird.
Yeah, no, that's just
So-
odd. Yeah.
We're going to get into it all, but the wild card weekend of the NFL 2023-2024 playoffs is behind us. Pretty good weekend, although I will say a lot of these games were not very good. One was a gem for sure, and I think a lot of people kind of relished in the Cowboys getting defamed, but that really wasn't that good of a game. I mean, it was over within the first quarter.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the games were just kind of
Just
runaways.
blowouts, you know? It's crazy, and to also think that the average point spread for the divisional round is 5 to 6 points. I mean, you have two 10-point spreads, a 6-point spread, and a 2.5-point spread. So I think the games will end up being closer than that, but we'll get into it all. To run through the thumbnail stats like we always love to do, it just seems like nothing really matters anymore. Everything's kind of leveled out as the course of the season went on. The corner QB curse is clearly gone. If anything, it's turned into
The right
a
QB.
positive, right?
Oh, yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
Well, yeah,
And
the right QB is
kind of has a
struggling.
little curse.
Yeah, the right QB. Tua definitely lost there. Left QB, Dak lost. Middle QB is a new little guy in here, and that's Patrick Mahomes, but I don't think that will last for too long. I do have the thumbnail for this episode, which I'll let you take a stab at. Who do you think's in the corner this week?
Man, dude. This one could be maybe CJ Stroud. Maybe Lamar. Oh no, what if you got so saucy you put Baker in the corner?
It's Baker indeed, of course. I haven't used him
man.
yet, so
Yeah, he's definitely hasn't really been deserving of a corner QB appearance until
but
now.
honestly, I do think he's had such an underrated season. We'll get into that, but from left to right, though, it's Josh Allen, Mahomes, and Lamar on top there. Baker's in the corner. We'll see how that pans out.
Is there a middle QB this week?
Yeah, that's Mahomes again.
Oh, Mahomes again in the middle, and then you
Yep.
said Allen is the left
Yeah, Lamar on
and
the right.
Lamar on the right. Okay.
All right, so let's get into the game. Saturday afternoon, kind of early evening game. Cleveland at Houston. You know what? It's so hard picking these games early in the week. I flipped on a bunch of these games as the week went on. And this one, I started to think that Houston was going to win because I heard this great stat that Cleveland's defense is absolutely horrendous on the road. They've given up 26 points on average on the road. When they're at home, though, they play phenomenal, and they're the best defense in the league. So, that just kind of told me what I needed to know. Plus, Houston already got a crack at Cleveland before they lost, and I think that actually could be telling of what happens next week. Or Houston had a crack at Baltimore before they lost. Maybe they could do the same thing, win the second round like they did here with Cleveland. Just really impressed with CJ Stroud's performance. this looked like it was going to be a little bit of a shootout initially, but Cleveland just seemed to panic. You know, Joe Flacco starts throwing picks, which he's always due for. He did throw for a ton of yards, but yeah, I mean, they just seemed to get really desperate. They kind of got away from their roots, the running game, and
yeah, I mean, the 2 pick sixes is really what killed
yeah,
this
I
game.
mean, yeah, that'll kill you for sure. But I mean, C.J. Stroud was also just lethal.
But yeah, I mean, you were mentioning that they got away from their running game, which is where they've definitely been successful previously. I actually saw this tweet before the game. I was kind of telling you about this guy who posts player props, and so he said to bet the Browns under 86 rushing yards and Kareem Hunt under 29.5 rushing yards.
Wow.
And of course both of those hit, and it was just pretty surprising. I didn't expect that coming into the game, because I mean, I thought Cleveland was going to win this, and then you mentioned Houston is just phenomenal here at home with their defense, and it's just kind of surprising to me when Cleveland money line was one of my best bets of the week here. Just didn't see it going that way.
Yeah, there were a few things that surprised me. The biggest one being Green Bay, which we'll get to. But yeah, I mean, C.J. Stroud, just kind of him, and all the trends point against it. Rookie QB, first year head coach, first start in the playoffs. That usually just does not go well for the rookie quarterback. Yeah. But I'm really starting to buy into C.J. Stroud as a top 5 quarterback in the league. I think the Texans are going to be good for a long time. Jaguars really squandered these couple years where they could have gone an edge up on the Texans, because going forward, they're not going to be the favorite to win the division. It's going to be the Texans.
Right. Yeah, CJ just looked excellent out there, and I kind of thought that the better storyline was going to be Joe Flacco winning the game, and he's going back to Baltimore to face them.
Oh, man, I would love that. I think that's kind of what maybe the NFL wanted. I mean, I don't think there's a losing situation here. I think Stroud being still in the playoffs is a good thing, but
for sure.
Yeah, I would have liked to seen Flacco, play his old team. I think that would be really cool.
Right.
But
I don't think he's lost a playoff game in January before. They call him January Joe.
He might be. I thought he was 10-5 in the postseason.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so he might have lost a few games. I think he did lose actually his first start in the postseason. Have to look that up. But moving on to the Saturday night Peacock exclusive game that I certainly did not watch because I didn't have Peacock. They were just feathering us along because I was at this party like I was telling you, and I was excited. I didn't know too many people at this party, so I wanted to watch the game, right?
Yeah.
So I looked occupied. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're they have it on NBC because it was the end of the other game, and they're we got bonus coverage till 8:30. Then y'all got to get your asses on Peacock. And yeah, of course, they were dribbing and drabbing little bits of the game in, and of course most of it was on Peacock. I think that's ridiculous to have a playoff game on Peacock. Sure, and they had some games on Peacock, the Buffalo Chargers game was on Peacock,
but not a playoff game.
Yeah, I mean, I can't believe it. What the heck?
These should all be widely televised, on cable for everyone to watch. You shouldn't have to download an extra streaming service.
If anything, you already have your Amazon Prime game, fine. Right. If anything, do a Netflix game, one that's a little bit more prominent or something. And I know NBC owns Peacock and they have the TV deal and all that, but I don't like that. Either way, it was not the best game in the world. And I saw it was coming a mile away. I just did not think the Dolphins had any shot whatsoever. And I saw this really good stat the other day. Tua, if the game kickoff temperature is below 45 degrees, he won't win the game. And remember, we were looking at his schedule last week during the pod, and I was this year, he was not tested in the cold at all. When he played in New Jersey and at Washington, it was in October, November when it was a little bit warmer still.
Right.
He got super lucky this year with how the schedule played out, playing in Buffalo way early on, playing Kansas City and Germany when it's in dome weather, and there's no weather. And so that's why I think they had such a good record, because he is just not good in the elements. I mean, even in the 40s or the 30s when that's pretty fine football weather. And I mean, that's just, who he is. He was born in Hawaii, he played in Alabama and SEC. He's probably never played, or at least in college, man. I can't even think of a time where he would have to play in a colder game in college. So yeah, I mean, they just got rolled over. Kansas City did what they needed to do. I still don't think they look great, offensively. I know it was super cold, so it's such kind of a hard game to take any conclusions from. But
so did you see, when did you see that if it's below 45 that they like will not win a game? Is that like the stat where they've lost their last 10 when it's below 45? Like something like that?
It was to a specific stat. I'll
Oh,
try and
okay.
pull it up here in a little bit, but go ahead and give your thoughts on
I
the
mean, yeah, that
game.
would be really
Oh,
interesting.
here it is.
Oh,
I got it
okay.
real quick. Tua Tagovailoa's coldest games in his career. Here we go. By temperature, we're going to go in order of temperature.
Yeah.
Of course, the coldest one was this past weekend, -4. Obviously, you're losing that game. December 17th at the Bills. This was last season, 30 degrees. So not even that cold, he loses. 35 degrees at the Bills the year before, loss. Okay, now this was like Tua's rookie year. He was not very good anyways. 36 degrees last season at Tennessee, lost. This is where it gets just goofy. 45 degrees in 2020 at Denver, loss. 46 degrees on Christmas Day last season in Green Bay. 46 degrees, loss. And those are his coldest games, and they're all lost.
That's
and honestly,
wild, man.
the 30, 35, 36, 45, 46, that's not even that cold for NFL
No, it really
games.
isn't.
Like, if he's playing on, like, any other team that's not in Florida,
Yeah.
like, you're going to have, those are going to be, like, some of your warmest games.
Right.
Like, if you're playing in New England, Philadelphia,
Yeah, Buffalo.
Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Cincinnati, Chicago, Green Bay, you know, all these other, like, Seattle. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous how horrible he is specifically in the cold.
Yeah.
And, like, I like him. Like, he's fine. Like, I have nothing against him, but he just kind of shrivels up like a prune.
Oh, for sure, dude. But yeah, really good pick here. You called this one from a mile away, saying you bet Kansas City, take them on whatever spread they're offering.
Yeah, I mean, I like 3 or 2.5 better.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, it dropped to 5, and you still bet that, and it wasn't even close. So
Yeah, I mean, I even took the alternate spread, like I was telling you, at 6.5 because
right.
I didn't trust Miami to really put many points up on the board at all.
Yeah,
here.
I mean, they didn't, and it definitely is like a combination of those two factors. Tua can't play in the cold, and just the Dolphins as a whole can't. So I saw Morning Brew is like a little news article that gets sent out every single day,
Right.
And they like had as their opening line on Saturday that the Dolphins haven't won a single game of their last 10 games when this temperature was below 40 degrees.
I mean,
And
yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, I feel like this game could have gone quite a bit differently though if Miami is at home here. They're playing
for
in Florida.
sure. I mean, that's the thing, though. It's like
The home field advantage, yeah.
that's the only way I see them having like any postseason success is if they get home games. And they could have this year. Of course, they almost were the 2 seed and won the
Right.
division.
Yeah.
And if they did, then they would have hosted, whoever it may have been at home, and they maybe very well could have won that game. I mean, they beat Dallas when they were at home, so it's weird with them. I do think like it's just so tough because like I think you have a good coach, a like clever offensive coach, and you can't get rid of Tua. I mean, he put up good numbers this year, but there's a lot of situations honestly in the league right now where you're just kind of stuck with a quarterback who's going to put up like plenty good numbers. Like you're not going to be able to fire him or got to get rid of or replace him. But are you ever going to go anywhere in the postseason? I think Dak Prescott's kind of like that. I think Tua's like that. I think there are a few quarterbacks like that where like you can't replace me, but I ain't gonna take you to the Super Bowl. So
Right, that's like exactly it. It's like the team's always going to be relevant, but they're just not
Right.
going to win the championship.
yeah, so man, it's so tough if you're an owner or like in management because if you don't have like one of those really special guys like Mahomes or Josh Allen, then like
Yeah.
you could be in for a tough ride,
Yeah, I don't
especially
know.
if you have someone who's like just average, like or
Right.
just above average.
Yeah, I don't know how you really approach something like that.
I know because then you're gonna have to start paying them like big money. Like they're paying
Right.
Dak like $45 million a year or something crazy. Tua is going to have to get paid here soon, so it's just man. If I'm a quarterback like that, you have to have some self-awareness, take less money so they can pay other people.
Right.
Because they're not going to be able to pay Tua, Jalen Waddle, and Tyreek.
No, absolutely not.
and
Mostert and Achane.
Yeah, they're not going to be
they're
able
all
to
too
pay all these
talented.
guys. So you're going to maybe lose Waddle or lose Tyreek, and then you're definitely not going to
Yeah.
be as good as you were this year. So
I think it's probably going to be time for Mostert to leave soon. I think he's been in the league
yeah,
for like
I mean, he's
12 years
he's
or
getting
something
older
like that.
and he's
Yeah,
dealt with so many injuries. But
right.
you got Achane. I think running back's like the least of your worries because you could just redraft.
Oh,
and
for sure. Yeah.
They expire. They're like milk, You get them in, they expire. You get rid of them, you get a new one.
Yeah.
You're good to go.
I love that.
All right. Pittsburgh at Buffalo. Actually, no, that game got postponed. So we're going to go to, what was the
Green
next
Bay-
game?
Green Bay,
Green Bay and
Dallas.
Dallas. So this was the afternoon game on Sunday. This was one of the biggest surprises to me of really the entire season. Dallas has been unstoppable at home. They have been explosive on offense. They have been just so dominant. It's one of the most historically dominant home stretches ever, right? I mean, going into last season, they're 8-0 at home this year, and they won, I think, almost every game last year at home as well.
Mm-hmm.
I love like the idea of taking the Cowboys and the points initially, but after the week went on, I actually got on Green Bay's side. I like them in the 6.5 or 7 points, but I still like Dallas to win like 33-28.
Oh, for sure,
or whatever. Yeah. And man, I can't believe how bad their defense was. I am so impressed with Jordan Love. Man, I don't think I've seen some player improve as much as he has. I mean, he was out here just throwing absolute ducks against, who was that? I mean, there was Pittsburgh he didn't play well against. There was Denver he didn't play well against. I mean, it's remarkable how well he's come, and
I mean, he's absolutely evolved like throughout the season.
I mean, it's almost just depressing. Like, you go from Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers to Jordan Love, and like I remember when they drafted Jordan Love, like he was in the same draft as Tua and Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert, Jalen Hurts. And everyone condemned the move because Aaron Rodgers was still in his prime, and this was even before Aaron Rodgers won the back-to-back MVPs. So everyone was thinking like, wow, I cannot believe that they just took a quarterback. How disrespectful to Aaron Rodgers. But they did the exact same thing that they did with Aaron Rodgers with Brett Favre. You sit behind him for a while, you learn, and I think that was actually huge for his success here, and really impressive what Jordan Love has been able to do. And obviously Dak, I was watching this game with my dad, and like I could tell like on the first drive or two, I was like, this feels like a game where Dak Prescott's going to throw the ball like 50 times. He ends up throwing it 60 times.
Oh my
He's like
God.
43 for 60.
Playing from behind for the whole game.
Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, he ended up with like a boatload of stats. I mean, he had like 400 plus passing yards.
That's
he had
insane.
like 40 rushing yards. He had three touchdowns, but
his stats like looked good from that appearance, but then you see like, and even the final total of the game is deceiving because they didn't deserve to have 32 points.
I mean, they almost even scored another touchdown at the end. I mean, they were like on Green Bay's 20-yard line or so. They could have scored and made it look 48-40, which would have been like, oh wow, this was an exciting game. But everyone knew it was over. Like once Green Bay got up like 20-0, like. I mean, I even thought it was over at like 20-0, just the way Green Bay was, moving the ball down the field, running the ball and all that. But yeah, I mean, the first interception being deep in their own territory and the second one being a pick six, like you're not going to come back from that, just like Joe Flacco,
Right.
I mean, it's basically 2 pick sixes because they got touchdowns out of both of them.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, crazy game there. I mean, I really was not expecting it. I picked Pittsburgh with 10.5 points. I didn't pick Green Bay with, even just the +7 there. So a little bit frustrating, but yeah, I love the storyline behind Jordan Love here. It's just I've never seen such a remarkable transformation in a QB through the middle of the season. I mean, we talked about earlier this year that I think like our exact words were that Jordan Love's not really the answer in Green Bay.
Yeah, I know. I think I did say that, and obviously,
but I agree. I totally agree.
But he was not playing well at all. Like, I think it was justifiable to say
that.
You look at some of those
it
games.
Absolutely is, yeah.
He was bad against Minnesota, Denver, Pittsburgh. There were some games. Yeah. His first game against Detroit, I believe it was. Bad. I mean, he did play well the first 2 games, Atlanta and Chicago.
I mean, I think it's historical the way that he is transformed throughout the season. So it's not a bad claim to say that at all.
No, I know. It's just like, man, some people, I listen to one podcast and he just preaches like patience and like no need to jump to like one end of the spectrum, like saying, oh my God, this guy's amazing or this guy sucks.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's just very true. You just got to like be patient and let things play out throughout a season. And that's exactly what happened here. I did want to also add, what did I want to add? Oh, CJ Stroud and Jordan Love had like the exact same stats in these 2 games. It was like 16 for 21 for 272 and 3 touchdowns.
That's wild.
It's crazy that they're, so fresh. I mean, Jordan Love feels like a rookie, but he's actually like a third-year, veteran in the league, whatever you want to call him now.
Yeah.
But, wow. Yeah, I mean, I think this is just humongous, and Dallas just really quit on this game. I just think they came in unprepared. Mike McCarthy needs to go at the end of the day, and Dak is just, you can put up good regular season numbers all you want, but he's been very poor in the postseason.
Right. Yeah, it's a tough spot that the Cowboys are in. It's just like they continue to be a winning team, and I mean, we said it already, but like, they can't make it to the Super Bowl. They're just always relevant, but not relevant enough. Almost like Notre Dame in a way. Like they'll give you a run for the playoffs like every single year, but they hardly ever like make it to a national championship or like
for
win
sure.
it.
Yeah, I mean that's actually a good comparison because both had their glory days like in the 80s.
Yeah.
And with Notre Dame, I mean, they're also kind of considered like almost America's team, huge fan favorite, super relevant, no matter what, but they just can't get it all the way done. I think Notre Dame will have a better chance now with the expanded playoffs, but Dallas has been in a prime position these last few years. They've had home playoff games. They would have had another home playoff game here, but by them losing, it was a huge gift to Detroit because now they get a second home playoff game. If Dallas won this game, Detroit would have to go on the road to San Francisco. So Detroit's really the winner here, and it's just so crazy how that worked out when they got screwed on the call when they lost to Dallas earlier in the year, just a couple weeks ago. Speaking of which, Rams at Detroit, the best of the postseason so far. Wow, I mean...
the only game that's like actually like really close.
Yeah, I mean, 1 point loss for the Rams. It's crazy to me. Like, you could look in all these games and like make a clear, distinct reason. Like, I know the reason here why the Rams lost is they couldn't get down the red zone, just kicking field goals
the whole night.
I mean, it's like it was consistent. Like, oh yeah, I mean, they're having all these big plays get down to the red zone, then they just go like 3 and out in the red zone. But Stafford played amazing. I mean, he was slinging the ball all over the place. I mean, he played great. Near these quarterbacks had any turnovers, whereas all these other, I mean, Cleveland, Joe Flacco turned the ball over. Dallas, Dak Prescott turned the ball over. Tua threw a pick, didn't play well. Losing quarterback here actually played great. It's probably the only time you'll really see this, like especially in the postseason. Matt Stafford, you could even claim, played better than Jared Goff, but at the end of the day, Jared Goff was just surgically accurate. I mean, there was a point where he was like 16 to 17, finished 22 of 27, 81% accuracy, whereas Stafford was like 25 for 36, 346 yards. I think that's like 61% accuracy, somewhere around there. It was pretty accurate, 66 or something like that. But Jared Goff was just, he was a man on a mission at the beginning of this game, and it's so crazy. It was 21 to 17, and then it was 3 to 6 in the second half. And so the defense has really buckled down, and I have to hand it to Detroit for just really clamping down in the red zone. I mean, they were not giving up anything in the red zone. They gave up some big touchdowns earlier on, but I'm so happy for them. Like, I like both these teams a lot. Like, I like Stafford, I like Goff, but Stafford already had his fun in LA. I mean, they won their Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, the guy deserves, like, he's such a good guy. And I know that he wanted nothing more to beat his team. Like, I'm sure he still has respect for Sean McVay and he likes Stafford, but like, they traded him away for the hotter girl on the block, right? Like, for Matt Stafford. I mean, it was clear that was the way they wanted to go, even though Goff took him to a Super Bowl in 2018 or 2019, whatever it was. And now he gets to beat his old team, and he played, arguably better than Stafford. I mean, it's close, but I love it for them. I love it so much for Detroit. I think it's a great story, and
it really is.
I'm really happy how things played out because I think they could easily beat Tampa. I think they could have easily even beaten the Eagles if they were to win. So I love the idea of a little Lions 49ers NFC championship game.
That would be fantastic. Yeah, I would love to see that. Really like the storyline too. Just like you said, I'm not sure if you saw this, but in the game or after the game, Dan Campbell gave a game ball to Jared Goff, and he's like,
I love that.
Yeah, you're good enough for Detroit.
Yeah, that like gave me chills. I love that. I love seeing
great
that
line.
energy. Yeah.
Just like, that Jared Goff and the Lions came into this game fired up. Like, Jared wanted it. He wanted it more than Stafford did.
Oh, I mean, as well as Stafford play, like in the red zone, I mean, he was throwing incompletions. I mean, it was like you run on first down and then Stafford threw 2 incompletions. Right. And so Jared Goff was just surgical in this game. And like you said, I love that moment, giving him the game ball and all that, even though it was definitely a team effort. I mean, the Michael Badgley had like a 54-yard field goal, which was the game winner essentially. So really impressive all around. And Yeah, really excited for their next game here. I think they can win it. I'm really happy it's at home for them. And we'll get into that here in a second.
Only other thing I have to say about this game is, how about Puka Nacua, man? I mean,
he is a stud. Cooper Kupp is washed. I think he's been hurt the entire year. Like, I think he's been playing hurt. Like, if you look at all the games he's played in, he is the receiver that has the worst catch rate, like, in terms of his targets.
Right.
Like, he'll always have, like, a ton of targets.
I know.
And he'll only have, like, 2 catches. Like, I think he had...
It's ridiculous.
I think there were, like... I mean, if you look at Puka, I mean, he's catching, like, 80% of his targets, whereas for Kupp, it's less than half. It's like 30 to 40%.
That's unreal. But then even once Puka gets the ball in his hands, he just makes magic happen. He's a little sorcerer himself. I mean, it's incredible.
He really is. And happy for him, too. I mean, he's a good kid, and I'm happy that he's having such success, kind of unknown. A lot of people didn't really think he would coming out of BYU. But
right.
Yeah, I mean, I think they'll be a good team for years to come. I hope Stafford doesn't retire. I mean, the way he played, I think he's got a lot of good ball left in him.
For sure,
so they just need to build up that defense a little bit more. I think their offense is fine. Maybe get a tight end or something like that, and they could be right back where they were a couple years ago.
Yep.
Pittsburgh and Buffalo, a little Monday afternoon football action here, the rescheduled game. Pittsburgh actually kept this kind of surprisingly close for a little bit of it. Mason Rudolph, I appreciate his effort that he put into this. I mean, clearly he was playing his heart out as well. Threw that bad interception in the end zone, though. That was gross and ugly, but he did have 2 touchdowns. Like I said, I mean, he was really balling out there.
That interception
as much as he could
have changed the course of the entire game.
It really could have. I mean, it was...
Pittsburgh scores there. They're right there in the game with them the whole time.
They are for sure. So, I mean, that'll do it. Like, you can't throw a pick at that time.
Yeah.
If anything, you throw an incompletion and you take a field goal.
Right, yeah.
But Josh Allen, man, I saw that run he had, that
the
52-yard
scamper.
Holy cow. Like, I thought, like, he could have easily just slid there when he got to, like, the little quagmire of guys. No one would have said anything. Like, you got the first down, and you got probably, like, more than, like, probably 20 yards or so.
Right.
But now he keeps going and goes the whole way. I mean, he's just an absolute train.
Yeah.
What a monster. 3 touchdowns in the air, 1 rushing. Really impressive. And as per usual, I mean, he has been really good in the postseason. I think the only bad game he really had was last year against the Bengals, but he is really elite, and he takes care of the ball in the postseason. That's why I loved. We'll get to some of my bets later that I had, but I loved for him not to throw an interception in this game. I mean, if you're going to give me that at plus money, plus 104, I'm taking that all day long.
Yeah, dude, I mean, I think that's a great bet to take. He's been so inconsistent with those turnovers all year long with throwing.
But he knows this is postseason ball now. Things are different.
No more jacking around.
No.
Yeah, I love Josh so much, man. I don't know if you saw his post-game interview, but I think it was like Tracy Wolfson or whatever her name is, was like interviewing Josh right after the game, and she says to him, like, Josh, like, which play was better, like your 52-yard scamper or that Khalil Shakir like run for the tud? And he's like, oh, of course it was like the Khalil Shakir touchdown. Like, I mean, it was either way, but like even still, like Josh, so it's the way that he talks about his teammates.
He puts on his teammates.
He does. Time. I mean, he's so humble, and he's just such a kind, lovable guy. I mean, he's just such a team player, and I love that. It really makes me respect and admire him, and that's why he's my favorite player in the league.
Yeah, no, that's just the way to be a leader. I think Mahomes is struggled a little bit because of the way his receivers have been. I mean, they've been bad, let's be honest. But
it's hard.
You could definitely feel that he's a little bit more on edge with his receivers. I think Aaron Rodgers was as well. I mean, there were many times where Aaron Rodgers was upset with his receivers. But, yeah, you got to hand it to Josh. I hope Stephon Diggs feels the same way, because there's been a little tension there. I know they used to seem like they were best buds, but Stephon Diggs, there was a little bit of tension this season. I hope that all clears up, and hopefully Stephon can get a touchdown here in the next game.
Yeah, he really hasn't been getting the ball much to Diggs. It's just been like Kincaid or Knox or Shakir. I mean, it doesn't seem like
Dawson
Diggs.
Knox coming out of the woodwork. I mean, they got 2 really good tight ends, but
it's interesting because I wonder if this is like part of their game plan, like get the ball to other receivers and let teams like stop covering Diggs a little bit, because like
maybe they'll take something away from Diggs. I mean, because Shakir is really good, and I think they have that like Deontay Hardy. He's pretty solid too. I mean, they got some good players. and I just hope that they're healthy enough defensively to tackle the Chiefs.
Yeah, they're a little bit banged up.
I know it's a little nerve-wracking.
Yeah, for sure, because Mahomes does have a tendency to kind of tear up those defenses when they're a little injured. But
I really do like the Bills. It's tough for me with this one because I am so emotionally invested in it. I really just don't want to see the Chiefs go to, like, I feel like this would be their
third time beating Buffalo
in the postseason, but like it would be probably maybe their fourth straight AFC championship game that they've made. I'm trying to think back. Obviously last year, the year before that, they did not. They lost to the Bengals, I think, the year before that. The year before that, they were in the Super Bowl against Tampa, and the year before that, they were in it. So I guess it would be 5 straight AFC championship games, which is just ridiculous. But it is Mahomes' first road playoff game, and we'll get to that. But anyways, we need to finish off Philly at Tampa Bay. I flipped on this one. A.J. Brown was ruled out, and that immediately told me, like, this is going to be Tampa. It's going to be rainy as well. It's at home for Tampa Bay. And holy cow, this game should not even have been this close because there were, like, 5 drops. I mean, Tampa Bay, the receivers, Mike Evans included, and all of them were dropping balls left and right. But regardless, Baker Mayfield still shredded up the Eagles' defense, especially in the second half. And, I mean, I have to really commend him. He was another quarterback that really impressed me, who I kind of ruled out. I mean, there were times where I haven't liked Baker because of his cockiness and whatnot. But over the last year and a half, he's really turned things around, had a quietly, sneakily good year in Tampa Bay this year. However, I will say, and this is just me being such a big Brady fan, but if Tom Brady was still playing this year, he'd have a shot at another ring. Because let's be honest, dude. Like, Tom Brady could have played as well as Baker during the course of the season and easily won that crappy division, being 9-8. He could have easily won this playoff game. And come on, he could have maybe even beat Detroit next week because of how bad their defense has played over the last few weeks. I really kind of wish Tom Brady like stuck around for one more year, but it is what it is. It's just like seeing like another guy with your girl, man. It's like, I like Baker, but like, I bet Tom Brady's at home thinking like, weird. Damn, that could have been me, man.
Yeah, he definitely is, man. I mean, he was, in the league for 20 years, and he's just all about football. He basically left his wife so he could play football for another year. Yeah. And like he's definitely thinking about it, and he wants to be there for sure. But
yeah, this is just so cool for Tampa. I mean, 3 of the last 4 years they've made it to the divisional round. Last year was the only year they did not.
Yeah, I really do think that they're the team in that division that most deserve to be in the playoffs here. Yeah. Like, it definitely wasn't Atlanta. It obviously wasn't Carolina.
I will say, I think the Saints would be in the Eagles as well.
Do you?
I do think so, especially how bad they played. I mean they were giving up. Yeah. I mean, there were stats like up the yin-yang about how most of the Tampa's yards came after contact because of how bad Philly's tackling was. They were just like, just like giving everyone a love tap and letting them run right by. I mean, it was an abysmal effort.
I just wonder why that is. Like,
they got problems all over the place. I think players are frustrated. I think Jalen Hurts is just being weird. I think their coach is weird. Jason Kelce retiring just out of the blue like
this. I feel bad for him. Like, he's the one I really feel bad for.
I mean, he's like the grandfather. But hey, I mean, he gets to be in the press suite box with Taylor Swift next week. When he goes up to Buffalo to watch his brother play. So maybe something magical can happen there. Maybe Chiefs lose and then Jason kind of consoles her. You never know what could happen. Like, if I'm Travis, I'm like, why don't you get your own suite? They're like, you don't have to come. Like, 9
months from now, Taylor's giving birth to the wrong Kelce baby.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
comes out nice and burly.
You'll know. Like it. Jason Kelce is an absolute lumberjack.
Dude, he really
woodsman.
Is.
Yeah. So, any thoughts on this or?
I don't know. There's a whole lot else to say. I think you did a good job covering it. It's just funky how Philly ends their season in such a bad fashion, just leaving a terrible taste in your mouth for their team as a whole, their whole organization, man. It's just I've never seen it. 10-1, and like everyone's like thinking they're like one of the Super Bowl favorites. It's like them and the 49ers like at that point in the season, and all of a sudden they win one more game for the whole rest of the season.
And they almost lost that one as well. But yeah, they had an 18% chance to make the Super Bowl when they beat Buffalo, which was their last win besides the Giants win, and dwindled all the way down to 3% after losing to the Giants.
Wow.
I just thought, like, I picked them. I didn't think they would win another playoff game, but I picked them because they would be like, all right, guys, we've sucked, but now everyone's 0-0. Like, everyone's 0-0. We all have the same record. We made it here. Doesn't matter. Okay, let's just go out and play Tampa Bay. Not world beaters by any stretch of the imagination. They were 9-8. They lost a bunch of games. They just beat the Carolina Panthers 9-0 with 3 field goals. So let's not be, crazy about this, right? I think Philadelphia was hugely capable, but with AJ Brown out and all their locker room problems, Tampa Bay was just able to roll right through them. So good for them. Really happy. I love the Buccaneers. I just really thought that, oh man, I wish Tom Brady was still around. But anyways, all right. On to our best bets. I took Kansas City minus 3.5 and the Rams plus 3.5. I know the Kansas City line went up quite a bit to like 4.5, 5, maybe even 5.5 in some spots, and the Rams went down to 3. Both of them hit, regardless of what you got the number at, though. And yeah, I like those bets a lot.
Dude. I mean, very, very good picks there. I can't really say the same for my own. It was a bit of a rough week for me. I think it was justifiable to take Cleveland money line here. I mean, their defense has been just ungodly good the whole season. They're facing a rookie QB in CJ Stroud, and I really thought that they would be able to contain him and just kind of, make CJ fumble a little bit, struggle in his first ever playoff game, because you don't normally see such incredible performances out of a rookie in the playoffs. I mean,
it certainly is rare, but he's so special.
He really is
the exception to the rule.
100%. Yeah. So it was a justifiable Cleveland money line pick there. But yeah, Houston just took care of business.
They did.
Second one, I had Pittsburgh plus 10.5, and it actually came kind of close to hitting. They kept the game. It was 24-17 for a good bit there. It looked bad at first when Buffalo went up 21-0, but then Pittsburgh's, starting to crawl their way back. They're within that 10-point range, and then Buffalo just scores another touchdown and really seals the game. Pittsburgh does not cover the spread, and not a whole lot you can do about that. I think it was another one that was a fair bet to take because Buffalo has, kept other games very close with, teams that are certainly worse than them. But
they haven't covered the spread since, they covered against Miami, but before that they didn't cover against New England. They did not cover against the Chargers. They did obviously cover against the Cowboys that 1 week, but I thought that was, it's a lot of points for a playoff game for sure, but we're seeing some big boy spreads in all these games.
Yeah, it's wild. And then finally, the one that I'm actually the most excited about, the Magic Conch finally prevailed, dude.
Dude, this is all you, because the Magic Conch is like a part of you. Like, you've nurtured the conch, you've brought it up, it's part of you. It's I raised all the credit goes, you've raised the conch, and so it's an extension of you.
Thank you.
And your betting
prowess.
Yes, exactly.
Thank you.
Got it.
I really appreciate that. So the Magic Conch said to bet the under 51.5 in the Rams and Lions game, and I gotta admit, Conch, I was getting really, really scared during this game.
First half it looked bad.
Dude, it looked terrible. I actually checked FanDuel in maybe it was the start of the start of the second quarter. 66.5 is what it was up to.
Oh yeah. They scored on their first 6 drives.
Yeah.
So
I think it was maybe 12 minutes left in the second quarter, and the spread or the over under was at 66.5. And I'm like, Conch, you're stressing me out here.
Holy shit, that's a lot of points. That's 15 over the original.
In just the second quarter, yeah.
That's nutty.
I know. So I was like, I should bet the under because there's no way it's going to go over 66.5.
Yeah.
And I should have. I wish I had. Betting under 51.5 at that point in the second quarter probably would have paid out so much. Dude, the odds on that would have been crazy.
The odd probably was up to 700 plus 700.
Oh, probably more than that, dude. That's absolutely crazy.
Yeah, that really is.
But yeah, so can't believe the Conch clutched up. It's kind of wild that the Rams never scored a touchdown on their offensive possessions into the red zone. Any one of those touchdowns, and,
I know.
The total's over here. So yeah, good stuff there, Conch. Let's hear about your bets here, though.
I will. Yeah, I want to go through those. There's just been some good live betting opportunities yesterday during the Pittsburgh game. There was a point when the Bills were going absolutely bonkers that Pittsburgh was plus 27.5, dude.
Oh my!
I wanted to take that so bad.
Yeah.
I didn't though, just because I mean, the Bills were dominating, let's be honest. And Pittsburgh was turning the ball over, Mason Rudolph interception, George Pickens fumble, whatnot. But that's absolutely crazy. I mean, they did lose by, what was it, like 14, but still
Right.
27.5 is
Yeah,
just,
that's
it's
absurd.
goofy. But guys, I just want to let you know, I don't usually do this, but I just want to let you know that we're on a little bit of a heater here. I have only missed like 2 of my postseason bets out of 20. Let's run through them here real quick. Over 45 in the Browns-Texans game. Then a parlay of CJ Stroud, 225 passing yards or more. David Njoku, 40 yards or more. Both of those easily hit. Houston Texans plus 2.5 hit. Houston Texans over 21.5 total points hit. CJ Stroud over 1.5 passing touchdowns. God, that was at plus 124. It's like taking candy from a baby. I can't believe they had it at that odds. Kansas City alternative spread at minus 6.5. That was plus 106. I took Kansas City minus 4.5, the normal spread. I took the under 44 in the Miami-Kansas City game. Then I had the over 52.5 in the Packers-Cowboys game. That was blown open. I took the Packers alternate spread at plus 6.5, which was plus 102. Parlay in that game, Jordan Love, 225 or more passing yards. Aaron Jones, 60 or more rushing yards. And because I thought the Cowboys would win, I took the alternative spread of Packers plus 17.5. Could have almost taken them minus 17.5. I did miss out on a little parlay of the Cowboys-Detroit paired together, but that's okay. Rams plus 3, easy peasy. And the other one I missed out was the under in the Pittsburgh Steelers game and the Buffalo Bills. I got to stop listening to all these crazy, like, fear-mongering weather forecasters.
Yeah.
It's going to be so snowy. It's going to be apocalyptically blizzardy, snowy up there. They're not going to score any points. Jesus. But I did get Buffalo Bills minus 10. Josh Allen, no interception at plus 104. Parlay of the Bills, Buccaneers money line, Buccaneers plus 2.5, under 42.5 in the Bucs-Eagles game. And Cade Otton over 21.5 receiving yards. I think he had his most receiving yards in any game of his entire career. It was like 89 or something like that. So feeling really good about it.
Dude, I am rock hard right now hearing you tell me about all those bets.
Well, I appreciate that, but we all know what happens when I get hot like this. I get really cold. Like when I went 8-0 in my college spread bets or whatever, in November, then I went 0-3 the next week after those 2 weeks. So it's just, it's just a law of averages like we talk about. Like I can't help it. Like whatever I pick, I mean, it's going to be cold. It's going to be square as they call it. It's not going to be sharp.
Ooh, I don't know how I feel about that. I still like your bets from this week, like coming up a lot though.
Yeah, I really do like those. I feel really good about those, even though the Houston line's gone down.
Dude,
but let's get
fantastic.
into these games.
Yeah.
Week 2, the divisional round of the playoffs. We got 4 pretty solid games, even though, like I said, the spread average is like 6 points, which is kind of crazy for division.
Dude,
these are like the
is.
final 8 teams. Like you would
like
think these are
normally
like best of the best.
The averages would be like 2 or 3.
Like
2 or 3 point
like
spreads
4
for all the games.
max.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I know these are the 1 seeds now playing, but like, God, I mean, a lot of people are liking Green Bay and Houston to cover their spreads. But on Saturday, we do have Houston at Baltimore. And guys, I've gone back and forth on this, and I would not be surprised if Baltimore wins, but Lamar Jackson has yet to prove it to me in the postseason. Let's go through his postseason history. In 2020, against Ryan Tannehill and the Titans, a wild card team, right? They get dominated. They lose 28-12 or whatever it was, okay?
Yep.
And they were the number 1 seed then, I believe they were, because that was Lamar's first MVP season, okay? His next season, I believe this is when I think he does beat, I'm not sure the sequence of these years, but there was 1 year where he does beat the Titans in a playoff game.
I mean, but it's
and
like
then goes on.
That was the year when Tannehill was going nuts.
Yeah, this was a good year for Tannehill. He didn't play great in this game, but it was actually a really close game. And I remember Tannehill's receiver slipped. Otherwise, I think Titans could have still won that game. But then they got blown out by Buffalo. Lamar Jackson threw a pick 6 that was returned for 103 yards in this game.
God.
It was in the end zone. It got returned all the way. So he lost that game. So he's only won 1 playoff game. So until he proves it to me, and until he proves also that he won't be as cold as it is outside right now after resting, 1 week, because of course he was the number 1 seed before, rested the week before that.
Yeah,
so
he
he's
really
been off
rested
for 2
2
weeks, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's not just him. Like a bunch of their players have been off. Kyle Hamilton
Right,
included
yeah.
and all that.
Most of their entire team are like the Stars, at least.
Yeah, I mean, it's worrisome. Obviously, the Lions were concerned about that for just 1 week, and hence they took the risk to play all their guys in week 18 and, got some of them injured. So it'll be really interesting. I think that it's kind of a bad matchup for Baltimore because I believe their weakness is in the secondary. I know Kyle Hamilton's good. They got good players back there, but CJ Stroud could find some holes in it. I think, man, if Tank Dell was playing, oh God, I would love the Texans for sure. But
yeah, dude, Tank Dell and Noah Brown, if they were in, I mean, I can't imagine the way this game would go. It would just be insane.
But they've proven to have some other sneaky stars,
sure,
like that
dude.
Bevan Jordan, the guy that took the 76-yarder in against the Browns. So I'm going to take Houston here. I can't believe it. I can't believe I'm doing it. But I do like them to win this game just because of they're just so hot right now in Baltimore. We don't know what they're going to look like.
Yeah.
The weather's going to be fine. It's going to be like 19 degrees and clear out. So no precipitation, at least not yet. I don't think it's going to be too cold. Although, I mean, I guess for CJ Stroud and the Texans, they aren't necessarily used to playing this kind of weather.
Dude,
so we will see.
I love the pick. I love the pick so much. I'm taking Houston as well, and I can talk through that in a minute here. But I just want to go back to, I don't know when this was, probably like week 13 or something like that, when Houston faced the Jets. Do you remember this game? And you originally had the Jets down, and then I convinced you.
This was like when I was taking
the opposite of Houston
every single week. I took the Cardinals and whatnot. And
yeah, no, it was just a joke for sure. But
I mean, sometimes it worked out. There was that 1 week. Who did they play? I took Denver. They lost to Denver. Ended up losing. But there was 1 week where Houston actually did lose. Oh, Jacksonville, when they played Jacksonville.
Yeah.
But yeah, that pissed me off though.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm sorry, but so. Yeah, I convinced you to switch your pick to Houston that week, and then they, of course, lose. And then you said that you're not going to pick them again for the rest of the season. And that was honestly justifiable after they lose to a team like the Jets. And
I mean, that was a horrible performance.
And we're picking Houston, both of us picking Houston against Baltimore, which is currently the Super Bowl favorite. I mean, this is crazy.
Yeah, see, the thing is, like with me, it's like, the only reason that I would be hesitant is because of the coldness. But CJ Stroud from Ohio State, he has played in colder games, dating back to college, and like we talked about with Tua.
Right.
I think it'll be a good game. I love taking Houston the 9.5 points, even though I know it's come down from there. But I would like them pretty much at anything over 7 for sure.
Now here's the question, and this could really be a wild one. If Houston beats Baltimore in this game, does CJ Stroud have a chance at MVP over Lamar instead?
I don't think so, to be honest. See, the thing is about the postseason, they don't really factor a lot of the postseason into the MVP conversation. I think they should, but it feels like it's kind of already locked up for Lamar. If anything, like I think Brock Purdy more has a better chance, depending on what he does during the postseason. If Dak did something crazy, he could have, but
right.
I mean, if we are talking about C.J. Stroud, you got to talk about Jordan Love as well because he's got way better numbers than C.J. Stroud.
Yeah.
I mean, C.J. missed a few games, and that's why he's not been in the MVP conversation. But he'll win, Offensive Rookie of the Year or whatever it is.
Right. I feel like that should go to like Puka.
Oh, it's definitely between the two of them. Yeah. It's tight for sure.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I think it'd be crazy just that. I know that you say that, Lamar's got it locked up, but I would love to see something like that happen and then give Offensive Rookie of the Year to Puka instead.
Yeah, so they both get something?
Yeah,
trust me. I mean, Lamar already won an MVP. His numbers really aren't that great this year.
Like it's to see a rookie MVP would be nuts.
Yeah, it really would be. And by the way, I remember in one of our pods, I said that I think a rookie quarterback has made the Super Bowl before, but actually never.
Whoa,
a rookie quarterback has never.
That's crazy.
So...
yeah, that would be electric to see
CJ
do that. But unfortunately, it's not going to happen for Houston because Buffalo will be the one that's winning the AFC Championship.
Yeah, I agree for sure. And I also think if Kansas City somehow wins and Houston has to play at Kansas City, I think their train will also end there as well.
Yeah, probably.
But yeah, I mean, as for the MVP again, it really kind of sucks. Like the Heisman in college, they almost vote like opposite of how they vote for the MVP. Like they seem to value in the pros the overall like win total and how well the team has done because of the player. Like
Right.
Lamar got them to the number 1 seed, and that's a humongous part to why he's going to win MVP, because it certainly is not his stats. Like
Right.
he has like 20 some, like in the low 20s in terms of his passing touchdowns. He does not have that many yards because it's not his game. He averages is like 230 yards per game passing. He's obviously got rushing numbers, but nowhere close to Josh Allen
Right.
in terms of rushing, nowhere close to Josh Allen in terms of passing. So if we're really talking MVP, I think Dak Prescott and Josh Allen should have been heavily more considered than Lamar. But, you know, when you just look at how many games they won and how many good teams they beat, I mean, they dominated Seattle, Detroit, the Niners. So at the end of the day, like, I understand why they're giving it to him. But for the Heisman, they voted purely on the stats. Like, for sure, like Jaden Daniels from LSU won it, who had a record of 9-3, lost some bad games, and he padded his stats against some horrible college teams like Grambling and Georgia State or whatever. Whereas the undefeated quarterback, Michael Penix, who had still really good numbers, just not as well as Jaden Daniels, he didn't win. So it's kind of like opposite to this, you know what I mean? It's like they're valuing different things, whereas I really think it should be a little bit more in the middle. Like, I think the Heisman should have gone to Michael Penix this year. As for the MVP, though, I mean, I think that the margins are so much smaller. Like, I think Dak and Josh Allen are a little bit more MVP-ish. Like,
I agree with that for sure.
Especially for Josh Allen. Like, he is that whole team.
Dude,
like,
he really is. I mean,
if they score, like, it's him. Rushing or passing.
I mean, a 52-yard run for a touchdown is insane.
I know. I mean, so many games. Like, his production is just nutty. And he's also, I mean, he brought his team to the number 2 seed. I mean, Lamar was number 1 seed. Like, I am really kind of upset with how they've done not only the Pro Bowl, which is just laughable, but also the MVP.
I mean, it's just crazy that after week 12 or 13, after their loss to Philly, that the Bills had a 5% chance of making the playoffs.
Yeah, I know.
And then Josh Allen goes crazy, just wins out for their team. And they're in the playoffs, and they didn't even just make a wild card. They literally won their division and are up to a 2 seed after having a 5% chance of making it.
Yeah, man, I wish I bet on them to make the playoffs then, because in my mind, I would have given them a much higher chance to make the playoffs.
Right?
The other thing, oh man, what was I going to say? Oh, shoot. I think I forgot what I'm going to say.
Something about Josh Allen, his rushing yards, 52
yards. It was something
yards.
about Josh Allen for sure. Something about the whole MVP, Heisman conversation. Oh, man. It'll come back to me, maybe.
I mean, I wish that he was more in the convo over Lamar, to be honest with you.
I agree. I mean, he's had some phenomenal seasons. He's been like basically second MVP for like 4 seasons straight.
Yeah. Anyways, I don't even think I really gave a whole lot of my rationale for the Houston-Baltimore pick. The only other thing that I would have to say about this game, really the reason I'm picking Houston, is just because of that massive amount of rest. Like, I think Lamar's last game was on New Year's Eve.
Oh, that's the thing I was going to say.
Yeah.
Lamar didn't even play in the final week of the season.
Right, so like he's basically going on like close to 20 days without playing football or something like that.
But like in terms of the MVP though as well.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Dak played, Jared Goff played, Stroud played, Josh Allen played. Yeah. So it's like, how could you wrap up the MVP in 17 weeks? I mean, 16 games. It's just, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know if I'm fully bought into Lamar being MVP this year. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly hope that he doesn't get it here. I mean, if he beats Houston, like, it's probably more likely that he is going to end up.
Yeah, I mean, I think he could even lose, and he's got it locked up. I mean, who knows though? Who knows?
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
It's just like, I think Tom Brady should have won a couple years ago over an Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
But whatever, man.
Yeah.
Whatever.
What can you do about those things?
All right, let's move on to the next game here. Green Bay at San Francisco, another team coming off of a lot of rest, which worries me as well. But I do like San Francisco here to win. I would probably take Green Bay to cover the spread, but I'm not going to touch that, at least not yet. Maybe I sit on it for the week. Like, I definitely make a lot more nuanced decisions as the week goes on. I think about this more. But initial thoughts, San Fran to win, Green Bay to cover. Maybe the under in this game just because I think San Fran comes out a little bit rusty on offense and Green Bay kind of slows down. My thing about Green Bay this week is that they just came off of their biggest win in years. I know a few years ago they won some playoff games with Aaron Rodgers. They beat the Rams. They beat, oh man, is that the only team they beat? Who else? I know they lost to San Fran in the playoffs. They lost to the Buccaneers in the playoffs. So this is their biggest win in a long time.
Yeah, not even close.
Not just point-wise, but just significance-wise. And so I think they will kind of take a step back. Plus, at the end of the day, like they barely made it to the playoffs. So I feel like this was almost their Super Bowl. They're playing the Cowboys. No one gave them a chance. So I just feel like kind of their emotional bandwidth has been shot. Now they have to go all the way to California. I'm just not fully bought into them upsetting another team like this.
Dude, that's a totally fair pick, and honestly, I love San Francisco to pull away with this win here. I'm just more of one of those guys that likes to ride the teams that are hot, which is why I'm going to take Green Bay. And for the similar reason that I don't want to take Baltimore, I'm worried about the 49ers being rusty from their 2 weeks off. Like, you can look at it both ways. Like, they're either super healthy because
it's
they
such
got
a
so
double-edged
much
sword. Like, are they going to be like super bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, or are they going to be a little groggy? I mean, it's so random. But like,
it is.
I will say, I think of these big home favorites, I think San Fran's more likely to win.
I agree. Yeah,
I mean,
totally
the
agree
spread
with
suggests that as well, but it's close.
Yeah, I definitely prefer Houston over Baltimore than I do Green Bay over San Fran.
Yeah,
but that being
and the
said,
points as well. Like I think there's a chance like San Fran could win this like 30-20. Like
they could
see a little bit of a regression for Green Bay.
Yeah, no, it's certainly liable to happen here. I like rolling with the team that just put up a monster win over.
Burger.
Yeah, I mean that's crazy. You never see such monster totals. I mean the game total was 80 points for that.
I know
that game.
I know it was nuts. Could have been even more.
Yeah, but I'm gonna roll with Green Bay this week. That's definitely the one that I'm least confident in, though.
It's saucy though. But that's the one where you get your units up bet-wise. That's how you win some units right there.
For sure,
you could lose all these other ones if you win that one.
Is that like plus 400 or something?
It's probably right around there, But they're giving San Fran the FPI like a 79% chance to win.
Oh, wow.
Which would suggest a larger spread, actually, I believe. Anyways, Tampa Bay at Detroit. I'm going to take Detroit here. They're another team that's been really good at home. I think Tampa Bay's story comes to an end. Let's remember what the Buccaneers are. As a big of a fan as I am of them, you got to recognize their limitations. They've had some goofy games this year, putting up 9 points against the Panthers. They got blown out against the Saints just a couple weeks ago. They also got blown out against the Lions at home earlier in the season. Goff threw for like 330 yards on them earlier this year. Was absolutely elite. Baker struggled, and that was the game where they wore their creamsicle uniforms. So maybe if they win this game, you're getting rid of those uniforms.
Yeah.
Like those uniforms will never see light again. But I do like Detroit to win this game, and I think they got a really good draw with Dallas losing, because if Dallas did not lose, then Detroit would have had to go to San Francisco. I believe it is. Yep, San Francisco.
Love the pick. I'm also going to go with Detroit here. I mean, they're so fired up after probably the most emotional victory of the entire NFL season this year. I mean, that was such a huge win for their team, and they are so amped. They are just going to come in and destroy what I think is really the worst team left in the playoffs.
I agree.
Yeah. So, rolling Detroit
Green Bay.
here. You think Green Bay is a little worse than Tampa?
Yeah, because Tampa Bay beat Green Bay at home by a lot.
I got you. Yeah, no, that's fair. But yeah, we're still taking Detroit here. I took Green Bay for the Green Bay San Fran game, but I really would like to see the 49ers and the Lions in the NFC Championship. I mean, that'd be crazy. I don't want to see Green Bay against Detroit in the NFC Championship.
No,
I've seen the game how many times?
Yeah, I think honestly that's like a horror situation. I mean, I don't know. I think maybe Detroit would rather play Green Bay, but
they would rather play Green Bay, but it would just be more
it's just
entertaining.
After what Green Bay did to them on Thanksgiving, I think they might have a little scar tissue there.
Yeah.
By the way, I was wrong. Detroit, if Dallas would have won, they would have played Dallas.
Oh, okay.
But still, I think they got a good draw. They get another home game because Dallas lost. I mean, it's remarkable. Final game, Sunday Night Football, Kansas City at Buffalo. This one's hard for me because I'm so emotionally invested in this. I really want to see Buffalo win, just for the reason being, Buffalo's never been able to get past Kansas City in the postseason here, whether it be in the divisional round, whether it be in the championship, the AFC championship game. I know last year they lost to the Bengals in the divisional round. The year before that, I believe they lost to the Chiefs in the AFC championship game. So I just think this is the law of averages finally kicks in and Buffalo wins a game here. They're finally at home in the postseason against the Chiefs. They don't have to play in Arrowhead. They did even beat Kansas City in Arrowhead earlier this year when they were underdogs. So, oh man, it's such a good game, I think. There is a chance, though, Buffalo kind of runs away with this one, though, just based on how hot they are and how Kansas City has really struggled offensively. I mean, again, they beat Miami by a good amount of points, 17, but let's not forget what they've done. They had an ugly loss to the Raiders. I remember Christmas Day, Santa comes down the chimney and just absolutely steals all of Kansas City's gifts. I mean, Kansas City's had some ugly outings for sure, but we know how successful they've been, Patrick Mahomes especially in the postseason here. But, yeah, I mean, it's in Buffalo. I think that's the biggest part of it. I think the weather will be okay, but it's definitely in Buffalo's favor, and that's why I'm going to take them. And I don't think it's crazy to bet this up to like 6.5. I mean, I think there's a chance Buffalo kind of runs away with it.
All right, good stuff. I am also going to take Buffalo this week, many of the same reasons you are. So the weather I don't really think is going to be much of an issue because both of them are used to cold weather anyways. Kansas City
I feel like if it would be like super snowy, like it was snowing like during the game, it would favor Kansas City because usually the inferior team would be favored by like more of a grimy ground and pound game, because Buffalo wouldn't be able to throw it as much, and Kansas City has not been throwing the ball fantastically lately. Like if they played that game on Sunday this past week, I think Pittsburgh would have been a little bit more favored because their style of gameplay kind of lends itself to more of a, grind it out. Don't care if it's raining or snowing. We're going to run the ball. You know what I mean? So if the weather's not a factor here and it's just the crowd noise and all that, I think that, it's going to be definitely in Buffalo's favor. Real quick here about crowd noise though. I bet Matt Stafford's back in Detroit when he's playing this game, like thinking, what the heck, man? It was never this loud when I played here and you guys were on my side. He's probably thinking like, where were you guys when I played here? You were never this loud for me. And now I can barely hear anything. And it played a role in that game because there were some false start penalties. And I think that's funny. I could see it in his eyes. He was like, it has never been this loud here when I played here. And even in the postseason, well, actually, no, they've never hosted a playoff game with him, but some of their bigger games at home, I mean, certainly was never that lively in the crowd. But
Detroit just likes Goff better, I guess.
I mean, when you go 12-5 or whatever it was, heck yeah. I mean, Stafford's best year was I think maybe 11-6, or 11-5. But let's hear your thoughts on this game.
Yeah, so other than the weather, I really think that this is the time that Buffalo finally defeats Kansas City in the playoffs. They lost 2020 in the playoffs to Kansas City and 2021 in the playoffs. They were both of those times they were at Kansas City. They finally get to host Kansas City for one of their playoff games. It just feels to me like the time that Buffalo is going to finally emerge. Josh Allen have a phenomenal game and take care of business here against Kansas City. Now, I just am concerned about the way Kansas City has played for most of the season here. I mean, they have, like you said, they've lost some really bozo games. I mean, that being said, so is Buffalo, but their players have just been
bozo-y, though. Like the one against the Raiders was pathetic.
Yeah, no, it
Aiden
was.
O'Connell doesn't complete a pass outside of the first quarter, or
and
whatever,
you
still lose that game. That was pathetic.
It was.
I think it was also. Was it at home or was it at Vegas? Either way, though, it was a bad loss. I mean, what else did Kansas City do here? I mean, they had some just ugly losses.
They lost to the Broncos, but I think Mahomes had the flu.
Yeah, but still, though, that was a bad loss for them. I
mean,
they did lose to the Bills, the Lions, and the Eagles as well. There were some other close games that they played that they snuck out of. So, yeah, I mean, Kansas City's not been good all year, and I'm saying, like, if Kansas City still wins this game, that's got to be demoralizing for Buffalo and the entire league.
Sure.
For everyone who's tired of the the Kelsey Swift. I mean, it just got to be tough to see. This is one of their worst teams they've had in years, and they are on the road, and they still find a way to win. Oh, my God.
I don't want to see that story, man. That would just be
that's
a heartbreaker.
Nightmare right there.
You think they intentionally made this game the Sunday night primetime game? Because it's like the third
for sure.
time. Yeah.
Well, it's the best game on the whole slate by a mile. It's not even close. I mean, all these other spreads are at least 6 points, which is just nuts.
No, yeah, that is wild. I would love to see a game as crazy as the one 2 years ago where I guess it's maybe 3 years ago now where Chiefs and Buffalo just went back and forth and like 25 points scored in the last 2 minutes of the game.
I think that was
something
2
like
years ago when Josh Allen had the 4 touchdowns to Gabe Davis.
Yeah.
Was that the one where it went to overtime and before the rules had changed and Buffalo didn't have any time to go down the field themselves? Man, that's tough.
Oh, dude, so tough. I mean, that was like the craziest ending of any game I've ever seen. That was probably one of the best games of all time.
Oh, yeah. Well, that certainly is not going to happen again because Kansas City, if it gets into a shootout, it's Buffalo's game by a mile just because Kansas City doesn't have the offensive firepower. I mean, Rashee Rice is cute and he's nice and all that, but Kadarius Toney, Sky Moore, McCole Hardman, MVS, disgusting. And Travis Kelce is just, he seemed a little ancient. He seemed a little dinosaur-esque lately.
Whoa.
I mean, he has, dude. I mean, he did me in my fantasy league because of how poor his productivity has been. So, yeah, I mean, Kansas City wants this to be more of a ground and pound game, a little more of a Pacheco game.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I think that really the only way that Kansas City wins this game is if it's done by their defense.
Well, if Josh Allen turns the ball over.
Exactly, dude. I could see Josh Allen having a turnover or two and that costing them the game, but that can't happen. He's got to be on his A game, just like he was against the Steelers.
Yeah, although he did almost have a pick.
Oh, he did, yeah.
Against, I was like, he threw that one on the goal line there into double coverage. That one scared me a little bit. Yeah. But thankfully it didn't hit. So
your bet still cashed.
Yes, my bet still cashed. All right, week 2 playoff divisional best bets. Let's go here with mine. There's some, all these lines are going to change, but like right now, I'm really liking Houston and the plus 9.5 points. Let's see where the line is at currently, because I'm sure it's gone down from that. That line just seems a little off to me. It's down to 9. I still like Houston. It's kind of an odd number. Like I said, I would take Houston in anything over 7. And I also really do like the over, which it's actually gone down to 43.5 over 45.5. So I'm going to adjust that here. I love the over. I'm not sure. There's got to be some reason why they have such a low total for this. I mean, Houston's defense has been, liable to give up points, especially on the road. Baltimore's defense, I think, could come out a little cold. And like I said, their secondary could be their weakness. And, I mean, Houston could even run the ball well. So
what percent of people is betting on the
60% on the under. So that's why it went down 2 points. Man, I love the over in this one. That's probably my favorite bet of the week.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a great bet. I'm also going to take the Houston plus 9.5, though. That's definitely my favorite one this week. It totally feels to me like a game Houston could certainly win. Not just lose by 9.5. I really, really like Houston here.
Yeah.
And then my other one is just Green Bay plus 10. It's similar logic to the one I had last week against when I picked Pittsburgh plus 10.5. I know that did not hit, but at the end of the day, these are playoff games, and like the NFL doesn't want to be, showing these crappy games where they're blowouts.
The NFL does not want these to be, the spreads suggest them to be. They don't want Baltimore to win by 10. No. They don't want San Fran to win by 10. They want them to
be good games that people are tuning in to watch.
I mean, even the Detroit-Tampa, they don't want Detroit to win by a touchdown, even though I would take Detroit to cover in that game. But I'm just doing 2 bets at least right now. I mean, I'm sure I'll bet more, but man, like these lines are just so tight. They're so sharp. Like,
do they really?
Vegas is just malicious with it.
Do they really are? Yeah. All right, well, I think that brings us now to the Magic Conch bet of the week. Magic Conch, I had a convo with the Magic Conch last week. What if it says
underdog?
Dude, I couldn't bring myself to bet it.
You're going to have to disown the Magic Conch, who you've nurtured and raised.
No, the Magic Conch has not even given us a favorite or underdog yet. Every single time it's been an over or under bet since I've been using it.
The polarity in the magnet must be off.
So do we think that it should be on the Kansas City Buffalo game?
Sure.
All right.
For sure.
All right. Well, I guess we're going to have to
We're not
ask
gonna
it now.
put it on like Pepperdine at Kinesis NCAA basketball.
Not. All right, Magic Conch, what's the play for the Chiefs and Bills game this Sunday? She's thinking, dude. It looks like it's going to be the under.
The under, of course.
Dude, she doesn't want to ever pick the underdog or the favorite.
Well, it's probably for the best, because if she picked the underdog, we would be in shambles. We'd be in shambles. But let's see what that line is.
I think that was like an under like 50 maybe.
45.5.
Oh, 45.5. I don't love that.
Let's see what the public thinks. The public, 52% likes the over.
I would like the over in this one, to be honest with you.
I mean, who knows? That's a good line, I would say. I mean, these are good lines all over the place. Detroit's gone up to 6.5-point favorites. The over-under, and that's 48.5.
Mm-hmm.
The one that just seems like a gimme to me is the over 43.5 in Houston at Baltimore. Especially with the weather looking pretty good.
I agree, yeah.
I mean, I think the under maybe in the Green Bay San Fran game, under 50.5 could be the play as well. Mm-hmm. But we will see. We will see. That's what we have for our best bets.
We've got some fan mail this week from our boy Jimbo. So Jimbo sent us in some picks last week after we had already recorded the episode. So I'll just run through those real quick. So Jimmy had picked Cleveland, Miami, Dallas, LA, Buffalo, and Tampa Bay. So Jimmy went 2 for 4 last week. So Jimmy, I'm a little bit sorry here, but the Sorcerers did outdo you here. We both had 3 and 3 records. He's a good
Monday better, you know. He had Monday on the lock.
Jimbo, I like your Monday bets for sure. However, there are no Monday games this week, so hopefully your Saturday and Sunday bets are still relevant. Sure. I like your picks though. So you're rolling Baltimore, San Fran, Tampa Bay, and Buffalo this week.
What's the over under 2.5 Jimmy record? Jimmy's wins. Correct picks. Over under 2.5.
That's tough. I think he'll probably get 2 right.
Yeah.
I think he's going to get the Buffalo game right, and I think he'll get San Fran right. So I'm going to say good picks, Jimmy. I don't think Baltimore is going to pull away with the win. I don't think Tampa is going to win, but I totally could see San Fran winning the game.
Yeah.
And
he could easily be 3-1. He could have a 3-1 week. I mean,
he could be,
the Tampa Bay pick is just because he's a Tampa Bay fan.
No, I mean, that's absolutely it,
Yeah. Homerism.
It's the same reason why we like to bet Notre Dame every week. Or I guess I would, but you like to bet against Notre Dame just for your
Everyone
emotions.
gives me shit for that, but I've seen a lot of people do that emotional hedging. Yeah. If you're putting money on another team against your home team, I mean, you're going to be happy either way. I'm telling you, it's the way to go. It's the way to go. It's the perfect, like, emotional padding. Like, you're like, what's the word? I mean, you're just ensuring that you aren't in shambles, in complete shambles. You might still be a little sad, but there will be a silver lining. Yeah. You're bulletproofing your emotions. There it is.
Dude, I like that a lot.
So there we have it, guys. Thank you for tuning in, as always. Yeah, I don't have anything else to say. Should be a good week. I'm sad there's only 4 games.
I know. It's really coming to a close here. We're only going to have 3 games left after this week, which is wild.
I know. It's like you know you're down bad when you're excited for the NFL Honors Night on Thursday, Friday, February 8th. Like that's when you know you're down bad, when you're looking forward to the NFL Honors Night.
Yeah.
So, all right, hopefully it's a good week. Enjoy it. Enjoy all the games. Bet responsibly. Give us some sponsorships, DraftKings or FanDuel. We'll work up to it. I mean, we basically sponsor you anyways because we talk about betting so much. But yeah, guys, as always, appreciate it. We'll see you next time. Bye now.